Hey, it's Josh, and it has been a while since I brought you on a trip with me somewhere, for obvious reasons. But that is changing, and I am in Chicago! And I'm going to bring you around with me in case you want to plan your own visit too. For this trip, I stayed at the Viceroy Hotel Chicago in the Gold Coast neighborhood. A great location and beautiful hotel that's on the site of a 120-year-old landmark building. And I could even see Lake Michigan from my room. My first excursion was to visit the Jane Addams Hull House Museum. Jane Addams was an international peace activist, social reformer, and feminist, and the museum connects the histories of the Hull House settlement to present-day social justice issues. Then it was time for my first dinner, and I started at the top with Gibson's Italia, where their pasta is gold extruded for extra flavor, and where the steak is to die for. And the dessert really is a whole spectacle to itself, and there's an incredible view to top it all off. The next day I went out on the Chicago Architecture Foundation Center River Cruise, aboard Chicago's First Lady. An awesome volunteer led the cruise, sharing stories and the history of more than 50 buildings that are along the Chicago River. For lunch, I went to Replay Beer and Bourbon in the Andersonville neighborhood. It's a gay-owned restaurant where they have seasonal drinks like a sweet pumpkin pie and delicious buffalo chicken egg rolls that I never knew I needed until I had them. After that, I walked up and down the main street in Andersonville because it was just rated the coolest neighborhood in the United States by Time Out, and even second coolest in the entire world. There are all kinds of interesting stores there for some good shopping. And then that evening for dinner, I went to Lou Malnati's Gold Coast for some authentic Chicago deep dish pizza, starting with a salad to try to keep it somewhat healthy and a small-sized pizza, but then I added a cannoli dip for dessert. The next day was very gay, starting with walking around the North Olmsted neighborhood, formerly known as Boys Town, where there's the only outdoor LGBTQ history museum in the world featuring 35 rainbow memorial markers. Then it was time for a visit to the Leather Archives and Museum. Oh yeah, if you want to get your kink on or learn about it, this is the place. From all things leather to BDSM, they have got it covered, or uncovered. And that evening I went back to North Olmsted for drinks, dinner, and a show at Kit Kat Lounge. An incredible trans drag performer entertained while we drank and ate. She was so stunning. And I even made friends with the strangers that were sitting on either side of me, so a friendly place as well. And I finished the night a few blocks away at Sidetrack. It's been around for more than 26 years and it's huge. Multiple rooms and bars with dancing and drinking, and you have to be double vaccinated to even get in, so it felt safe even when it was packed. On my last day, I had brunch at Big Chicks in Tweet in a vintage Art Deco building, serving classic and non-traditional dishes. My waiter suggested the chilaquiles with chorizo, and I was not disappointed. Then it was over to the Navy Pier, where I got to go on their Centennial Ferris wheel, which goes up to nearly 200 feet and gives visitors a pretty spectacular 360-degree view of Chicago. And finally, I finished the trip with dinner at Lark, back in North Olmsted. There's apparently a great drag brunch there as well, but I sat out on their patio and had buffalo cauliflower and pulled pork mac and cheese. I had a lot of yummy food during my time in the Windy City, that is for sure. And that is my visit to Chicago. Make sure you're following me on Instagram to see pictures from my trip as well, including a couple slightly risque ones from the hotel room. Bye!